Alright, let's dive into the latest from Detroit Lions training camp, because there's a lot to unpack here. And personally, I think it's a mix of good news, cautious optimism, and a few head-scratching moments. First off, the Lions held a shorter practice on Sunday, and they decided to sit out a bunch of their top players after 4 days of padded practice. Now, before anyone hits the panic button, it seems like this was mostly precautionary. But here's what makes this really interesting. It's a smart move by the coaching staff. Training camp is a grind, and managing player health early on could pay dividends later in the season. From my perspective, this is a team that's learned from past mistakes. They're not pushing guys too hard too soon. Now, let's talk about the good news, because there's plenty of it. DJ Reed, Derek Moore, and Malcolm Rodriguez are all making progress, which is huge. Reed, in particular, has been sidelined since Thursday, but Coach Dan Campbell said it's not a major issue. Personally, I think this is a big deal. Reed is their #1 cornerback, and having him healthy is critical for their defense. What many people don't realize is that cornerback depth can make or break a season, especially in a pass-heavy league like the NFL. So, hearing that he'll be ready when he's ready, that's a sigh of relief for Lions fans. Another bright spot is Jahmyr Gibbs. The rookie running back returned to practice after dealing with a back issue. Now, he wasn't at full workload, but seeing him get team reps for the first time in camp is a step in the right direction. If you take a step back and think about it, Gibbs could be a game-changer for this offense. His speed and versatility are exactly what the Lions need to complement their passing game. But here's the thing. Managing his workload now could be key to keeping him fresh for the regular season. It's a fine line, but I trust Campbell and his staff to handle it. Now, let's talk about Ben Bartch. The guard is still working his way back, and Campbell admitted he's behind the mark. What this really suggests is that injuries, even minor ones, can disrupt a player's rhythm. Bartch is a veteran, and he's got the tools to compete, but missing days in camp isn't ideal. One thing that immediately stands out is how Campbell described him. Smart, conscientious, and someone who means something to him. That kind of mindset is invaluable, but it doesn't change the fact that he's playing catch-up. In my opinion, his progress over the next week or two will be a storyline to watch. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. The long list of players who were limited or didn't practice. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Penei Sewell, these are big names. But here's the thing. Campbell called these bumps and bruises, which is coach speak for nothing serious. What makes this really interesting is the timing. Teams often hold players out as a precaution during camp, especially with the season still weeks away. But it does raise a deeper question. How much of this is about player health, and how much is about managing competition? Personally, I think it's a bit of both. The Lions have a talented roster, and they're being smart about keeping everyone fresh. Finally, let's touch on Ahmed Hassanein, who went down during practice with a lower leg injury. He walked off under his own power, which is a good sign, but it's still something to monitor. A detail I find fascinating is how the team didn't deem it significant enough for an update. That could mean it's minor, or it could mean they're waiting to see how it develops. Either way, edge rushers are a critical part of this defense, and any injury there is worth keeping an eye on. So what's the big takeaway here? In my opinion, the Lions are taking a measured approach to training camp, and that's a good thing. They're balancing the need to prepare for the season with the need to keep their players healthy. Yes, there are some concerns. Peyton Turner's back injury, for example, doesn't sound great. But overall, there's more reason for optimism than worry. If you take a step back and think about it, this is a team that's building something. They're not rushing, they're not panicking, and they're making decisions with the long game in mind. And that, to me, is the most encouraging thing of all. So what do you think? Are the Lions handling camp the right way, or are there areas they should be more concerned about? Let me know in the comments below.